Welcome to the Silenced History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos. London, 1972. Three icons stood arm in arm, rewriting rebellion. Bowie, Iggy, and Reed, fueled by art and excess, defined an era where music wasn't heard, it was lived. Los Angeles, 1977. Legends met in the Ring of Joy. Muhammad Ali and the Jackson 5 posed together, strength and rhythm intertwined, greatness recognizing greatness in one timeless frame. Antibes, 1990. Laughter echoed over the Riviera as Stallone and Schwarzenegger danced during the Cannes Festival. Rivals on screen, friends off it. Proof that legends can share the same spotlight. London, 1996. Backstage energy froze in one photo. Kate Moss, Johnny Depp, and Iggy Pop. Mid-conversation. Youth, rebellion, and raw artistry. The 90s distilled into a single heartbeat. Cannes, 1971. Hand in hand, John Lennon and Yoko Ono strolled through Rue d'Antibes. Their love, like their art, defied rules. A peace march wrapped in denim and devotion. Los Angeles, 1983. Michael Jackson saluted beside Coppola and Lucas. Music met cinema. Genius met imagination. Three worlds merging to shape the future of sound, film, and myth. Sydney, 1983. A 16-year-old Nicole Kidman posed after BMX bandits. Her wild curls and fearless gaze hinted at a destiny no one could yet name, a star quietly in bloom. Los Angeles, 1980s. Three rising stars laughed under neon lights. Rob Lowe, Tom Cruise, and Emilio Estevez, unaware they were shaping the face of Hollywood's golden youth. Missouri, 1977. A 14-year-old Brad Pitt kneeled proudly with his basketball team, the Rejects. A name ironic in hindsight, the boy destined to be anything but rejected by the world. Edinburgh, 1981. Under dim festival lights, four unknown students toasted with champagne: Hugh Laurie, Rowan Atkinson, Stephen Fry, and Emma Thompson. Before Hollywood crowns, they were simply dreamers rewriting the rules of British comedy. Los Angeles, early 1990s. A teenage Tobey Maguire leaned toward Leonardo DiCaprio, laughter echoing through a bowling alley. Once rivals for the same roles, they forged something rarer, a friendship strong enough to outlast fame. Los Angeles, 1993. In one fleeting frame, two worlds collided. Tupac Shakur and Kurt Cobain, poets of pain and rebellion, stood side by side, unaware that this moment would outlive the music itself. Honolulu, 1979. Laughter, lace, and teenage charm filled the room. Barack Obama posed with friends on prom night, unaware that destiny had already chosen a far greater stage. You've just seen 13 photos. There are 56 more waiting and hundreds more in our archive. If these images moved you, don't miss what's coming next. Subscribe now and become part of history's witnesses. Harrow, 1889. A 15-year-old boy stands proud in tailored formality. Winston Churchill's eyes already defied youth, history's future voice hiding behind the elegance of an English schoolboy. Auburn, 1868. Harriet Tubman posed firmly, gaze unshaken. Once hunted, now immortal. The conductor of freedom stood still, proof that courage leaves echoes louder than chains. France, 1888. Long before sainthood, a teenage girl looked into the future with quiet resolve. The world would one day call her Mother Teresa, but here she was simply Agnes. London, 1914. Before the bowler hat and silent fame, a young chaplain stared into the lens. His eyes carried both mischief and melancholy, the comedy and tragedy of life itself. New York City, 1955. Marlon Brando slouched into legend, wearing defiance like a tailored suit. A man who turned mumbling into music and made silence roar. Santa Monica, 1961. Elizabeth Taylor's eyes matched the diamonds, but the real glitter was survival. After scandal and surgery, she owned the room and rewrote the rules. New York City, 1956. Tuberose in hand, Audrey Hepburn turned a flower into a spotlight. Grace so effortless it felt like air, elegance that never needed permission. Memphis, 1968. Elvis and Priscilla held their baby, Lisa Marie. The king of rock cradled new life, proof that even icons have moments softer than their songs. Germany, 1958. The world's biggest star traded spotlight for uniform. Elvis Presley served quietly, proving fame bowed to duty. Even kings, it seems, answer when history calls their name. Switzerland, 1960. Audrey Hepburn cradled her newborn son, Sean, as her husband, Mel Ferrer, leaned close. The world's most elegant woman simply looked like a mother in love. Havana, 1950s. Ernest Hemingway raised his glass mid-story, sun-drenched and defiant. Surrounded by laughter and bottles, the writer who chronicled courage lived every word he ever wrote. New York City, 1978. Under Studio 54's flashing lights, Bill Murray and Gilda Radner danced through laughter. Comedy's wild hearts colliding in rhythm, a fleeting night etched in stardust. New York City, 1977, backstage after her show, Dolly Parton embraced Mick Jagger. Country met rock, sparkle met swagger, two worlds united by pure musical fire. New York City, 1980s. A father and son share the sidewalk spotlight. Jerry and young Ben Stiller, laughter between generations, long before their names became comedy's living legacy. Charleston, 1986. A 22-year-old Stephen Colbert smiled with youthful ease on campus grounds. Long before satire and fame, this moment captured the sincerity behind comedy's sharpest mind. Boston, 1908. The crowd held its breath as Houdini, bound in chains, stood on the bridge's edge. Fear was his stage, water his witness, escape was always his truth. In a single second, triumph turned to tears. On Father's Day, Michael Jordan collapsed, clutching victory and memory. That night wasn't about points. It was about pain, legacy, and healing through greatness. Within moments, this scene became history. Cicely Tyson stepped onto Hollywood's grandest stage, radiating quiet strength. Her nomination for Sounder marked more than success. It marked the rewriting of representation forever. This frozen moment captures creation itself. Leonard Nimoy sits calmly as his father trims his hair. In that quiet gesture, Spock is born, and with him, an entire universe of imagination. Before the roar of fame, there was rhythm. A teenage Bruce Lee dances with precision, winning Hong Kong's Cha-Cha Championship. Even then, his body spoke the language of mastery and motion. What you see in their smiles is not just joy. Charlie Chaplin, surrounded by his daughters, radiates calm. Behind the world's laughter lived a father who found his peace in quiet family moments. Moscow, 1965. Sophia Loren stood beneath the Kremlin's shadow. Elegance meeting power. Hollywood's warmth confronted history's cold gaze. A golden age icon caught between two worlds. Queensland, 2003. Steve Irwin lifted his daughter Bindi, laughter echoing through the wild. Fearless and full of love, the crocodile hunter taught the world that passion can outlive even tragedy. Washington, D.C., 1983. Christmas at the White House looked different that year. Nancy Reagan laughed beside Mr. T, dressed as Santa, politics and pop culture colliding in festive absurdity. Ohio, 1985. Under glittering stage lights, a young Halle Berry smiled, newly crowned Miss Teen All-American. No one knew this moment would spark her journey to Hollywood history. Liverpool, 1957. Three boys with cheap guitars and endless dreams called themselves the Quarrymen. Before the Beatles, they were just kids tuning the soundtrack of a century. Albuquerque, 1977. A young Bill Gates smiled in his mugshot, unaware he'd rewrite the digital age. Every revolution, it seems, starts with breaking a rule. Los Angeles, 1960. On set, Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher shared a soft laugh. Their bond would outshine fame, beginning and ending as it always was, together and timeless. Los Angeles, 1940s. Young Betty White smiled beneath golden studio light, microphone in hand. Long before legend, her laughter filled the airwaves. A joy time could never silence. Tucson, 1972. By pure chance, Paul Newman and Clint Eastwood crossed paths outside a motel. Captured mid-laughter, they were two icons before becoming marble myths. Los Angeles, 1985. Behind the movie star grin, John Travolta posed proudly in a pilot's cap. The skies gave him the freedom no spotlight ever could. California, 1970s. Two siblings sat quietly in sunlight. Janet and Michael Jackson, bound by music and innocence, unaware they'd soon redefine pop forever. London, 1987. A young Christian Bale leaned back, joystick in hand, eyes fixed on the screen. Before Gotham, before fame, just a boy dreaming in pixels. New York, 1965. At 22, Christopher Walken stood shirtless, defiant. Behind calm eyes brewed ambition, the still before Hollywood's strangest rhythm. Kingston, 1966. On his wedding day, 20-year-old Bob Marley smiled. Before the anthems and fame, love itself was his first revolution. New York City, 1983. Keith Richards, Tina Turner, and David Bowie shared one electric frame. Laughter, chaos, and genius colliding. A single night bottling rock's wildest heartbeat. Washington, D.C., 1993. Mid-flight between duties, Hillary Clinton played a Game Boy, a rare human pause, a reminder that even power sometimes needs play. Los Angeles, 1982. Between E.T. and Poltergeist, Drew Barrymore and Heather O'Rourke stood beside Spielberg. Innocence and imagination blurred, cinema's magic forever caught in a smile. Maine, 1951. A 4-year-old Stephen King grinned in sunlight, unaware nightmares would one day be his gift. Within that innocence slept a storyteller. Chicago, 1970s. Young Bill Murray stared into the camera, mustached and mischievous. Beneath calm eyes lingered humor and rebellion, the birth of charming cynicism. Stockholm, 1978. Stellan Skarsgård held his blonde son Alexander, neither knowing they'd one day share cinema's stage, generations framed in one fleeting embrace. Los Angeles, 1959. From baby portraits to teenage mugshots, Cher's early years already told her story. Rebellion hand in hand with brilliance. Morristown, 1987. At 18, Peter Dinklage stood tall in defiance. His graduation photo captured the quiet strength that would redefine heroism on screen. New York, 1982. Between takes on Sophie's Choice, Meryl Streep blew a bubble of gum. Even in play, her gaze carried the weight of cinematic history. London, 1976. At 20, Carrie Fisher leaned playfully against iron gates. Months later, she'd become a galactic princess, balancing wit and vulnerability beneath fame's crown. Vienna, 1907. Freud and Jung rested outside a sauna, minds still ablaze. Two thinkers shaping how humanity would understand itself forever. New York, 1979. Between takes of Kramer versus Kramer, Meryl Streep and young Justin Henry shared laughter, a fleeting tenderness behind heartbreak. Deauville, 1968. When Bond met beauty. Sean Connery and Brigitte Bardot's first encounter radiated effortless charm, a cinematic prelude frozen in time. Swiss Alps, 1975. Jack Nicholson and Roman Polanski shared a ski lift above endless snow. Genius and controversy balanced precariously on laughter. New York, 1979. Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep laughed between takes of Kramer versus Kramer. Beneath joy, the tension that reshaped how cinema felt. Heartbreak. London, 1973. Michael Caine stood behind his wife Shakira, cigarette in hand, gaze soft with pride. The world saw a star. She saw the man. Munich, 1967. Young Arnold Schwarzenegger raised his glass at Oktoberfest, muscles and ambition already forming. Not yet a machine, just a dreamer. New York, mid-1960s. Snow fell as Allen Ginsberg smiled beneath a handmade sign reading, "Pot is fun." Poet, protester, dreamer, defying conformity with humor. California, 1963. Steve McQueen leaned toward Ally McGraw, sunlight tracing their connection, love, power, and simplicity, frozen between fame and freedom. Paris, 1965. At 19, Andre the Giant towered above a fashion show crowd. Behind his smile stood quiet strength wrapped in myth. London, 1974. Newly in love, Jeremy Irons and Sinead Cusack posed in their garden, a calm before the spotlight, beauty blooming in domestic grace. Alaska, 1960s. Before the afro and calm voice, Bob Ross stood clean-cut and sharp-eyed. The future painter of peace once carried storms within. London, 1953. A young Sean Connery stood tense on stage at Mr. Universe. Before tuxedos and martinis, Bond was a man chasing reinvention. New York, 1930. 19-year-old Lucille Ball gazed into the lens, elegance masking ambition. Before laughter ruled her world, this was the calm before television's brightest storm. New York, 1870s. Long before the presidency, young Theodore Roosevelt posed proudly with his walking stick. Strength already glimmered. The Rough Rider in waiting. New York, 1885. Frail yet unbroken. President Ulysses S. Grant read the paper on his porch. Days from death, the soldier still faced life unflinching. Moscow, 1979. Fresh from customs, Elton John smiled beneath his cap and scarf. Behind that grin, quiet rebellion, the man who colored a gray world. Paris, 1982. Teenage Céline Dion posed near the Eiffel Tower, her smile unguarded. No spotlight yet, just a dream echoing through the city of light. New York, 1955. Inside their father's bakery, young Christopher and Glenn Walken stretched dough beneath warm light. Before scripts and fame, there was family and flour. London, 1984. Backstage before the lights rose, Freddie Mercury and Mary Austin shared a private smile. Beyond fame, their bond endured. Love rewritten as friendship. Canada, 1984. Before beaches and cameras, Pamela Anderson smiled shyly for her yearbook. A brunette then, her innocence hinted at the storm of fame to come. Los Angeles, 1933. Bette Davis turned toward the camera, her eyes fierce with destiny. Beneath porcelain grace burned the fire that made her Hollywood's queen of defiance. Hollywood, 1938. Gloria Swanson reclined in satin and diamonds, laughter frozen in timeless allure. The silent era's queen turned every pose into immortality. Los Angeles, 1941. Rita Hayworth's curls shimmered under studio lights. Beauty, mystery, and melancholy blended. The woman who taught an era what unforgettable truly meant. London, 1982. At a royal premiere, a child star reached across worlds. Drew Barrymore offered Princess Diana an E.T. doll. Innocence meeting grace. Hollywood fantasy touching royalty. Paris, 1978. Before your eyes, a quiet moment of destiny unfolds. Harrison Ford, still unnoticed, walked beneath Paris sunlight, the man who'd soon become a legend, caught between anonymity and fame. Los Angeles, 1998. This photograph uncovers a hidden beginning. Jessica Biel and Scarlett Johansson stood beneath soft summer light, unaware that destiny had already chosen their names for stardom. Hollywood, 1994. Imagine standing here surrounded by golden lights. Elijah Wood and Leonardo DiCaprio smiled before the world crowned them icons. Two dreamers frozen in the purity fame would soon steal. New York, 1984. Laughter echoed across the Ghostbusters set as Bill Murray, Sigourney Weaver, and Dan Aykroyd shared a playful pause. They didn't know they were etching comedy into eternity. Every image you've seen today carries secrets that textbooks overlooked and history forgot to mention. If you're fascinated by the untold stories behind familiar faces and forgotten moments, hit subscribe and join us every week as we reveal the hidden narratives captured in history's most powerful photographs. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like this video.